Hey listening friends, I'm your host and coach Laura Malone. As an entrepreneur and leader, wife and mom, teacher and creator, I am showing up to share possibility with you and help you find vision and wisdom because you deserve to be equipped and released as the hero of your own story. Coaching really does help you change your life. And if you want to know how to guide yourself and others well, I created this podcast just for you. It's a place where you can grab tools, teachings, and ideas for both personal and spiritual growth, as well as entrepreneurship and coaching if that's your thing. So as you listen in, I pray I can help you create a legacy of impact and really start writing the story of a life you love living. Now let's jump into today's episode. Hello to the best listeners in the world. I am back and talking about something that is very real to me, especially right now. Lots and lots of things going on, and I've been traveling, and we have a lot going on in our nonprofit of crisis response work. And I don't know if you know that right now there's a lot going on in the world besides a war in Ukraine. There's also an earthquake just happened last night in Turkey. And so we have a lot going on, and being able to manage our teams and deployments around the world. My husband travels a lot with that, and also does some work in some other countries that I won't mention right now. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Kids, life, travel, weddings, funerals, and just trying to have self-care in the middle of all of it. And decision fatigue hits me sometimes in the middle of the day. Sometimes when I'm in the middle of the night, it wakes me up. And I thought, this is a thing that is definitely prevalent in our lives, but it's also very prevalent as a coach when you're trying to build your practice and grow a business and do all the things as a solopreneur that a lot of us are. So if you feel tired, if you feel irritable, cranky, like you have brain fog, there's a lot of reasons, obviously, for that. And I'm just going to say that we're going to focus on one possible reason why you feel this way. All the rest of the things, I'm going to let you research on your own and talk to your doctor about. But decision fatigue can make you feel all of those things. It is cumulative. So the more decisions that you face, whether you're aware of them consciously or not, whether you make the decisions or you put the decisions off, it is cumulative and building up in your mind, because an average person makes over 35,000 decisions a day. That means you're depleting your brain and your mind energy. I'm at the point where I can't even talk straight because I have decision fatigue. So this also means you're affecting your body and your soul. And life is really complicated mentally, in the mental space, now more than ever, because of the COVID pandemic and all of the things that we as a world have gone through together. And technology has really made decision fatigue so much more, difficult than we've ever had decisions before. It's just your brain has to decide every day if you're scrolling, if it wants to stay on this graphic in Instagram or scroll on. Does it want to watch this video on TikTok or not so much? Those are decisions your brain is actually having to consider. What to wear? Should I wear those shoes? Should I put on my left shoe before I put on my right shoe? I mean, these are decisions that your brain is responsible for all day long, and you're not even being aware of them. And the post-pandemic fatigue is really huge. And you might not realize that these little decisions are building up so much, especially on top of the big decisions and the struggle that we've really come through in the past couple of years, and it's not really over yet. So in the end, you kind of just end up being drained, and you want to close your brain off. You want to close it down, shut it down. And if you try to do this by just not making decisions, you could possibly make things worse, because not making an intentional decision is still making a decision to not be intentional. And then you're just going to bear different consequences than you would have if you just made a decision by thinking it through, right? So some symptoms of decision fatigue are brain fog, irritability or short temper, reckless or forceful decision making. It affects your physical and emotional energy. And you have to remember, your brain is a body part. It's an organ. So as it's working, you're actually depleting physical energy. Some symptoms might be just numbing out or escapism or buffering, and also just impulsivity about decision making. So being very quick and and impulsive about making your decision as opposed to being really thought through. So some solutions to this, I'm going to start at the simplest thing, grocery shopping. Okay, 2 things you can do, and I'm going to apply this to other parts of your life and coaching, but you can always shop at places like Aldi's or Trader Joe's or Lidl if you have those, and small family-owned businesses, etc., rather than big box stores that offer this huge buffet of choices, because that's not really good for you when you have decision fatigue. If you're at a store with a list, you literally hold pre-made decisions in your hand. And without a list, you're simply inviting more fatigue and rash decisions about what you're going to buy, impulsivity, buying things that you don't need, buying something that's on sale, even though you don't need it. And when you shop at places that offer you less choices and you have a list of what you really need, what your intentions are, you help your brain function at a higher capacity. And when you find yourself second guessing it all, you might actually be driving yourself off the perfection cliff. Like you're just, I have to make this decision perfectly. And I'm not sure, should I go left? Should I go right? And you end up just driving off the cliff instead of actually turning left or right. Either one of them would have been better than waiting for the perfect answer and just flying off the cliff, okay? Sometimes you just need to pick a path. Sometimes the answer is not always a clear right versus wrong, good versus bad. Sometimes you just need to say left or right. Either one is going to get you somewhere. And sometimes your decisions need to have a sense of closure to them like that. And I'm not talking about the massive major things. I'm talking about what kind of pickles to have on the relish tray, okay? So as a coach, you might experience this in your coaching practice or business, especially when you're building the foundations. So just like I say, to limit your options when you're grocery shopping, learn how to limit your options about what path you could take, what platform you could choose, what price you could set. Here's the deal. As an entrepreneur, you are going to learn about a ton of different ways you could grow your business. And as a coach, you're going to learn about a ton of different ways you could coach clients, how you could grow in your practice. For example, so you're going to have to make the decision. Do you want to do only one-to-one coaching, or do you want to add group coaching? Do you want to do a course? Do you want to develop a mastermind? If you do the mastermind, do you want it to do it for 3 months or 6 months or 12 months? There are a lot of different ways to offer everything once you actually decide what to offer it. What to offer. You're going to have so much going on. Then you have to think, well, what coaching model should I use? Should I follow somebody else's? Should I make up my own? Do exactly what my training and certification entity taught me, or figure out how to do it the way that feels more aligned with myself? How much do I charge? How long are my sessions? Do I want to market using social media or a blog or a YouTube channel or a podcast or write an ebook? There are so many options. And once you pick one, then you have to decide who to learn from about how to do that thing you chose to do. That puts you onto a whole new list of options to choose from. And the lists go on forever. There's always going to be more and more decisions to make. And once you make your decision at the ground floor level and you've gotten all your foundations laid, then you move to the first floor or the first room. You have a new onslaught of options because they're always going to be adding as you grow. You're going to go into more spaces you're unfamiliar with and make new decisions. And if you don't learn how to manage your mind about it all now, it's going to wipe you out. But you don't have to make all of these decisions at once. It's just really wise for you to be aware of what options you allow in front of you to reduce your decision fatigue. And it's really wise to be aware of what kinds of decisions are going to be in front of you. It's a step-by-step process, and you can walk it out with integrity, hope, and clarity. It's literally the reason I created the Greenhouse Life Coach Training course and the coaching clarity packages that I currently offer, which are based off of all 10 basic needs of a coach that's growing and building their practice and business. So we actually zoom in to focus on the ones that meet you where you are right now. So it's not necessarily getting all 10 things accomplished. It's what is right for you and what you need right now in your space and your calling. So if that's something that interests you, just check the show notes out for a link to schedule a possibility call. That's where we chat about all the ways that we can work together. And both the Greenhouse and the coaching clarity packages, they're both awesome if you don't know where to start and how to move forward in your calling as a coach. But the possibility call is free, and it's actually how I can help you really get more language for where you're at right now and what your next right steps are. Even if they're not with me, but maybe it's to take the life coach training course and go through the Greenhouse and get all those tools and set up your practice. But maybe it's working with me one-on-one to get real clarity and develop your core message and all of these things that are more specific and personal to you. And maybe there's something else God has for you. So that possibility call is actually where we determine what is best for you where you're at. But decision fatigue will exhaust you without you even knowing it. So look at all the decisions you have to make and pick one to give focus to. And then trust that if you're seeking the kingdom of God first, that your good dad in heaven, he's going to be with you in it. If you find yourself headed in the wrong direction, trust he's going to show you about it. He is so gracious, and you can learn to be gracious with yourself as well. So do not fear, simply trust that you can choose left or right, and you're not going to be punished for it. If there is a better way than the first choice you picked, you're going to find out. You'll learn from it, and that's going to be okay. It's part of your process. So to recap, assess the decisions that you need to make in your life and set priorities about them. Limit the amount of options you put in front of you. Just pick a path and trust your dad and walk on. And then don't forget to hand out grace tickets. There's a bunch in your pocket. You can hand them out to yourself and other people. And then lay down and sleep soundly through the night. And, if people are saying like, well, why are you so cranky? Now you can actually say, I have decision fatigue. Because now you can actually be aware that sometimes we just get into a day, a week, a season, a year or more where we are overwhelmed and we have decision fatigue, but it is something you can manage. It's something you can grow in awareness about and take good self-care so that you can be strategic about the amount of mental, emotional, and physical energy that you are spending all day long. This is just a way to give yourself a little bit more grace and be aware so that you can actually learn how to use your decision-making skills more profitably. So you can bear greater fruit because you're aware of what's going on for yourself. Okay, friend, bless you. And I pray that the fatigue will fall off of you supernaturally, that it would all be released off of you. And you know, the Bible says, come to me, all who are heavy laden. Jesus says that his yoke is easy, his burden is light. So this is a place where it's important you take the fatigue you feel and give it to him. And he says, yes, the yoke that is around you, it's to guide you, but it's easy and it's actually made out of freedom. And it's the kind of freedom that your spirit longs for, even if your soul and your body resists it. And it's the kind of burden that is light to carry because you know he's with you and he's the one that's guiding you and he is carrying the burden for you. So be blessed today, and we'll talk to you next time. I so appreciate you as a listener. And if you are looking for a community of like-hearted believers who love all things coaching, be sure to jump into the Christian Life Coach Collective Facebook group. Do you think you might be called to become a certified Sterling & Stone life coach? Well, learn more about the Greenhouse course where you can get trained in just 10 weeks to start building the foundation of your coaching practice. All the links you need are in the show notes. Happy story making!